So I had a guest, a former Amazonian. In fact, this episode was released today.
Great.
And he said that search query performance data is not restated. He calls it restating the data. He says apparently the search query performance data, once it comes out, that's it. That's the data they give you.
Yeah.
So his name is, by the way, for my listeners, listen to it. It's a very useful episode. Todd Vanderstelt is his name. Episode 308. I would highly recommend it. We got into data, and then he was giving the Amazon perspective. And so how do you deal with data that's not restated?
You know, I'll tell you what I do with that, what I don't do with that data. The first thing I did when that search query performance report was available in one of my accounts is I downloaded the top 1,000 terms for I work with 4 brands, so I downloaded for the 4 brands, and then in the unit sales for my brand column, I totaled it up and I looked at what percentage of all sales are they saying is attributed to one of my top 1,000 terms. And for most of the brands I work with, that, anything beyond the top 1,000 should be a very small volume queries, very few clicks. And what I found was that those top 1,000 terms accounted for between 16 and 20% of the unit sales in the periods I looked at. And so immediately what I realized is that they're probably, now I don't have access to Amazon's internal analytics. I don't know how, none of us on the outside do, but they are probably being very stingy with the unit sales that they're attributing to a search, such that, if you've never set up conversion tracking on a website before, you might not think about this, but there's a lot of decisions you have to make to figure out, should I attribute this sale to this activity? And so I don't know what they're doing, but intuitively, I think it's unlikely that only 18% of the sales for my brand on Amazon are influenced by search results. That seems way too low, because everybody else, everything else would be, okay, somebody did a search, clicked on a product, and then clicked on, an ad, or clicked on a people also purchased, or people went through my brand store, or people clicked on the product and then waited and then didn't do anything and then bought it later. But the main navigational component of Amazon is search. And so having only 18% of sales attributed to my top 1,000 searches seems inexplicably low, unless almost any activity between the search and the purchase will cause it to not be counted in that report. So I don't rely on it for purchase data because I don't think it's telling enough of the story. But I do rely on it for click data because clicks happen right away.
Yeah.
And so long as there wasn't a problem with the data, that needs to be restated, then an attribution time frame doesn't impact it. So that would be my main caveat with it, is I don't look at sales, add to carts that closely to track my market share. I do look at clicks.
So I will give you another perspective that will probably send you wondering.
All right.
How does that work? That I don't know about the 16 to 20%, but let's assume that
just the 4 brands I looked at for that time.
Yeah.
Period.
So
that may not be universal.
That's fine. Let's take that at its face value.
Mm-hmm.
You know where the rest of the sales are coming from? It's coming from traffic that is not search traffic.
Mm-hmm. It really depends on what you call search traffic.
I tell you what I call non search.
Mm-hmm.
People who bought this also bought this. Buy it again
Mm-hmm.
because you bought it before. So this is what we did and we found. And this is the real weird situation.
Yeah.
First of all, what's the general premise on Amazon in order to get organic traffic? To rank on certain keywords high enough so that when people do a search, you come up on page 1 high enough so that without having to advertise, people can click on it and go make the purchase, right?
Yep.
That's the entire gameplay for any Amazon seller. Let's achieve as high rank as possible on keywords. And then they even start tracking where do we rank every day? And then did we fall? So the whole idea is get organic rank on the search terms so that we don't have to pay sponsored product or any advertising.
Sure.
I mean, that's generally most sellers are trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do this, since you like data, and I'm curious to see what you find. First of all, if you download the advertising reports and check the total amount of paid keyword traffic.
Yep.
And then download for the same time frame, do it for a month, and for that same month, download the search query performance.
Mm-hmm.
And as you put it, 1,000 keywords should pretty much cover most of it. Anything beyond is going to be very little. Assuming that, you can also add a multiplier and then say, okay, maybe our total search is going to be this.
Yeah.
So now you have a total, the total search traffic, the clicks that you received from searches, paid and organic in total.
Mm-hmm.
When you compare the two totals, you're going to find they are almost equal.
Yeah.
Then you go download the business reports for the same time frame and look at the total clicks in that same time frame. You're going to find that the business reports total will be at least double.
Yep.
Which means that the balance is obviously traffic that is anything but search.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, those sales that you really think that, oh, you know, impossible, my search. Well, there is clearly a significant amount of traffic that comes to the product page that is not search driven.
Mm-hmm.